very, very fast. And I can't even lie, you did this to yourself. You did this to yourself. Stephanie White under major fire. It is a microscope on you. The Indiana Fever have put Stephanie White on alert. They are watching you like a hawk. And if you make any missteps,
it's a refined, more structured rewrite that keeps the tension and narrative flow but makes it clearer and more controlled. Are you ready for this? Because what's happening around the Indiana Fever right now doesn't feel normal. This doesn't feel like a routine coaching situation, and it definitely doesn't feel like something the public is fully being told. Behind the scenes, something is shifting. The moment report began circulating about Stephanie White, everything changed. At first, it sounded like just another in-season rumor, the kind that surfaces when expectations rise and pressure builds. But this one didn't fade. It didn't disappear. It kept growing. And with each passing moment, it started to feel like there was something real beneath it, because this isn't just about a coach. This is about Caitlin Clark. And whenever her name becomes part of the conversation, the stakes immediately escalate. Coming into this season, everything surrounding the Indiana Fever was built on one central idea: progress. Not just incremental improvement, but a clear, undeniable step forward. A major part of that responsibility fell on Stephanie White. When you're leading a team that has suddenly become the focal point of the league, and coaching a player like Clark, who brings attention, pressure, and expectation all at once, every decision carries weight. Every rotation, every timeout, every adjustment is magnified. On the surface, things appeared stable. Preparation looked normal. Expectations were standard. Nothing outwardly signaled a major issue. But behind the scenes, it wasn't that simple. What people are now starting to piece together is that conversations were happening quietly, privately. Not official statements, not public discussions, but internal evaluations. The kind that don't make headlines right away, but eventually shape the direction of an entire organization. At first, it wasn't direct. It wasn't a clear indication that change was imminent. It was more subtle: questions, concerns, ongoing assessments. Because when expectations rise, patience shrinks. And that's where everything began to shift. That IT stopped being just about performance. It became about direction. For the Indiana Fever, this isn't just another season. It's a defining moment, a point where everything is expected to align. And when that doesn't happen, change doesn't come slowly. That IT comes fast. Or if you want, I can make this even more dramatic, more analytical, or tailor it specifically for a YouTube voiceover style.
Ruined the Indiana Fever's offense. Caitlin Clark dealt with injuries. I mean, it was a lot going on, but ultimately it did not look like Caitlin Clark's style of play and Stephanie White's coaching style mesh at all. Okay, we saw Caitlin Clark playing small forward. We saw Ari McDonald getting the ball, putting her hands over Caitlin Clark, all types of nonsense, okay? And Stephanie White also made a bunch of bonehead comments when she basically said, hey, I want to build the team around Kelsey Mitchell. What? What are you talking about? And it's been a snowball effect from there on. So much so that the Indiana Fever have now made Lynn Dunn a coaching consultant. Oh, you got a consultant now. You got a consultant now. Oh, okay. So Lynn Dunn, before Stephanie White was here, Lynn Dunn was responsible for Christy Sides being here. Lynn Dunn actually wanted to keep Christy Sides. She got the new front office in here. They elevated Lynn Dunn to more of an executive role, and the newer front office wanted to bring in Stephanie White. Okay. Lynn Dunn and the Indiana Fever have seen the nonsense that Stephanie White pulled with Caitlin Clark. When Caitlin Clark is going off on versus the New York Liberty, she's calling it hero ball and all of this other stuff.
Here's a clearer, more controlled rewrite that keeps attention but sharpens the structure and flow. That's when the rumors began to shift into something more serious. It stopped being just about pressure and started becoming about decisions. Insiders began pointing to something unexpected: a meeting. Not a public one, not formally announced, but a quiet, internal discussion, and not just among staff. Ownership was involved. And once ownership steps in, the situation changes immediately. It signals that this is no longer a minor issue. It's significant. From what's being discussed, that meeting wasn't simply about reviewing progress. It was about preparing for multiple outcomes. And one of those outcomes included the possibility of a change at head coach. That's where everything starts to feel different. Because now this isn't just speculation, it's a plausible scenario. If ownership is already exploring alternatives, then something has already triggered concern internally. That raises a central question: what actually happened? From the outside, nothing appears fundamentally broken. But internally, something clearly isn't aligning. And that's where Caitlin Clark re-enters the conversation. When a team is built around a single cornerstone player, everything connects back to her. If something isn't working, it inevitably reflects on the system around her, including the coaching. That's why the situation carries so much weight. If Stephanie White is facing this level of scrutiny, it suggests the expectations surrounding Clark and the team's trajectory are even higher than most realize. Then another layer emerged. There are indications, unconfirmed but persistent, that contingency plan may already be in discussion. A potential replacement, not official, not announced, but considered. And that changes the dynamic completely. Because once a replacement enters a conversation, the current role becomes inherently unstable. That instability is now beginning to surface around the team. Every decision, every game, every result carries more weight. It's no longer just about performance, it's about security, and that's where things become complicated. Situations like this don't stay contained. They spread, they impact the locker room, they influence confidence, they test trust, and eventually, they show up in the results. If you want, I can combine all your rewritten sections into one seamless full script or push it into a sharper, high-stakes documentary tone.
She's either going to get it right or she's going to get gone. It's as simple as that. Yes, you had a good season coaching a bunch of people that was working, doing regular jobs. The Aaron McDonald's, who was jobless at the beginning of the season. Y'all had a hell of a run. All of that is cool. I don't care about what you did with those that does not matter. The job for the Indiana Fever is to coach around Caitlin Clark. Can you build a team around Caitlin Clark and play a system that fits her and Aaliyah Boston? That's the job here. The job here is not to show, I can win a couple games with Odyssey Sims and Aaron McDonald. Okay. You can go to another team and win with those type of players. The job here is to succeed with Caitlin Clark, the biggest face in the sport, period. That's the job here. And if you can't do it, they're going to get rid of you. And now they have eyes watching you 24/7 as they reintroduce Lynn Dunn. Let's take a listen.
Because when uncertainty enters a team, it doesn't stay contained. It spreads. And that's what makes this moment so critical. If the situation continues to build, it won't remain behind closed doors. It will become public. And the moment that happens, everything shifts to a coaching change at this stage doesn't just impact strategy, it reshapes identity. It alters direction. And most importantly, it directly affects Caitlin Clark. Because then the question becomes, what does this mean for her? If the system changes, her role changes. Her environment changes. Everything around her adjusts. And that's why her response matters. Even without saying a word, reactions tell a story. People are already watching closely how she plays, how she carries herself, how she handles the weight of the moment. Because situations like this reveal something deeper. Not just about teams, but about players, about leadership, about how everything holds together under pressure. And right now, the Indiana Fever are under that pressure. What began as a season defined by expectation has now turned into something else, something uncertain, unresolved, and steadily building toward a decision. And if that decision comes, it won't just be about Stephanie White. It will define the direction of the entire organization because this moment is bigger than any one individual. It's about what this team is becoming and whether it's ready for what comes next, or if the rumors are true, if those meetings really took place, if contingency plans are already being explored. Then this isn't speculation anymore. It's the early stage of shift. And once that kind of shift begins, it doesn't stop easily. Decisions like this reshape everything. And right now, it feels like we're right at the edge of that moment, where what was hidden becomes visible, where what was quiet becomes impossible to ignore. Until then, the tension remains. the questions remain. The uncertainty continues to grow. Because now, everything comes down to one thing: what happens next? And whatever that answer is, it's going to matter more than anyone expected.